What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Student Shredding. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be talking a bit about my macro split for this program, but mostly how to work out your macro split for when you're on a cut to optimize lean muscle mass retention and maybe even build muscle. So, without further ado, let's get started. So my macronutrients currently for this program are 222 grams of protein, 254 grams of carbs and 71 grams of fat. And this works really well for me, but does that mean it's going to work really well for you? No. Why not? Well, macronutrients and diet in general are all extremely specific to you as an individual and should be treated as such, as we all have different metabolisms and we all have different energy expenditure. So here's how to work out your macronutrients, but keep in mind these recommendations are for when you're on a cut, and these macronutrients may vary to when you're in the lean bulk phase or even when you're trying to maintain your body weight. Before we get started with anything, there's one thing that you should know, well, maybe three things. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories also, and 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. This will be important for later on, so I want you to remember that now. The first thing we need to know before we work out any of our macronutrients is our total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE. This is basically the amount of calories we use every day within our everyday activity. But how do we work this out? There are a number of online calculators which you can use, which I will link below, and you can also use the app called MyFitnessPal, which I would definitely recommend to anyone, as it will take any guesswork out of your diet. But the trouble is with these online calculators is that it won't always be 100% accurate. So what we need to do to change this is to experiment with the figure that it gives us a little bit. So what we do is an average weigh-in every single day, either if that's before breakfast or after dinner at the end of the day. Just make sure it's the right time of the day every single day to provide more accuracy. And after a week, if your weight's fluctuated at all, whether it's gone up or down, you need to alter those calories accordingly. Now, if your weight is the same, then ideal, that's your TDEE to maintain your weight. This can be a bit tedious at first, but trust me, it'll only benefit you in the long run. Now, obviously, we don't want to maintain weight because we want to get shredded. So what do we do next? We need to find out how much weight we should lose each week to maintain as much muscle mass as possible, or like I said, even gain muscle mass. So as a whole, we know that 1 pound of fat or adipose tissue is equal to about 3,500 calories. However, it's not as simple as just dropping those calories from your diet, as there are a number of physiological responses which occur in our body when we drop our calorie intake. To maintain as much muscle mass as possible, or even gain muscle mass whilst we're on a cut, it's recommended to drop 0.5 to 0.7% of our body weight each and every week. Studies were even completed that show that a faster rate of weight loss not only negatively affected strength, but it also negatively affects potential muscle building hormones. So to work this out, simply take your body weight and divide it by 200. That will give you 0.5% of your body weight. This is how much weight we should be losing each and every week. So for example, me weighing at 90 kilos, divide that by 200, that will give me 0.45 kilos, and that's how much weight I should be losing each week. You then need to convert that figure, which you got in kilos, or if you've done it in pounds, that's fine, but you need to convert the figure that you got in kilos to pounds. So 0.5 kilos for me pretty much equals a pound, so I should need to lose a pound a week for optimal results. So to achieve the weight loss we then need to adjust our calorie intake, or our TDEE, which we worked out before, to match this weight loss. Now, as we know, 1 pound of fat equals to 3,500 calories. So what we need to do is divide this by 7 to give us the amount of calories we need to lose per day. If you need to lose, let's say, 1.5 pounds a week, then all you need to do is times 3,500 by 1.5 and divide that total figure by 7, and that's how much you should be taking off your TDEE each day, okay? So for me, for example, my TDEE is 3,000 calories. I've then divided 3,500 by 7 to get the amount of calories I need to lose every day, so that'd be 500. I then get 3,000 and take away 500, so I should be eating 2,500 calories a day, which is going to equal a pound of weight loss or fat loss each week. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, unfortunately it's not. From that, we then need to use our calorie intake to determine how much macronutrients we should have in our diet. Our first macronutrient is protein. Now, studies show that when we're on a cut, our protein requirement should be anywhere between 2.3 and 3.1 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if I weigh 100 kilograms, that would put me anywhere between 230 grams a day and 310 grams of protein a day. Now obviously that's quite a big gap, so what I'd recommend doing is starting at the lower end of that figure and assessing how you feel after a few days. If after a few days you are feeling a bit fatigued, then I'd recommend bumping that figure up a little bit. Obviously, we don't start at the higher end, as we're not going to have much room to progress if we are feeling fatigued. Second macronutrient we have is fats. Now, fats, despite what people say, are extremely important in our diet as they provide us with hormonal support and also normal body function. So fats should make up between 15 and 30% of your total calorie intake. What you need to do is just grab your total calorie intake and times that by 0.15 to 0.30. That's going to give you the range of which you should be in. So once you have that number, so for example for me, 2,600 calories times 0.22 to get us in the middle of that range would be 585 calories. Now remember what I said earlier about how much a gram of fat is in calories? We then need to divide that amount of calories by 9 to give us the amount of grams in fat we need in our diet. So for me, 585 divided by 9 is 65 grams of fat per day. Stay with me. Our last one is a bit simpler than that, and our last macronutrient, as you can guess, is carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates should make up the remainder of the calories we have left after working out our proteins and our fats. So let's say I went for 230 grams of protein, which is equal to 920 calories, and then 585 calories from fats. That would leave me up to 1,100 calories left in my diet to fill up with carbs. So remember what I said earlier, 1 gram of carbohydrates is equal to 4 calories. So that remaining amount of calories, 1,100, I need to divide that by 4 to give me the amount of grams of carbohydrates I need in my diet. So 1,100 divided by 4 equals 275 grams of carbohydrates. Then you will have the amount of macros you need to fill every day. Now obviously we are all individual, and if your previous diet is a big variance to this one, you will need to slowly alter your calorie intake and your macronutrients to suit this new macronutrient goal, as this one will be optimal for muscle mass retention and possibly even gaining muscle. I hope you were able to follow this video. It probably sounds a bit confusing at first. It's definitely confusing to me, and it's definitely confusing making this video as well, but I would definitely recommend following these macronutrient goals, as that's what research has told me that's going to be optimal for you guys. Now I hope it helped you, and like I said before, I would definitely recommend using MyFitnessPal. This is a brilliant app to track your calories and make sure you are getting the correct macronutrients in your diet. Now at first you will need to go on there and manually change your macronutrients. As you go on there, it's just going to give you the average macronutrient requirement. So to do this, to change your macronutrients, simply go into more, go onto goals, macronutrient and nutrient goals, and then you can manually enter the macronutrients based on which I've just told you. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's loads more content coming soon. Of course, like and subscribe, and if there is any content you'd like me to cover, please don't hesitate to comment below and I'll try and get it done for you. Take it steady.